This show is sponsored by ODYS Global. Make sure that you do sign up and get a free $100 bonus by checking out ODYS Global's Age Domains or Done For You affiliate websites. Hi guys, and welcome to today's podcast where I'm joined by Mushfiq. Welcome to the show, Mushfiq. I am excited to be able to pick your brain today. How are things where you are?
Awesome. Thanks, Craig, for having me. This is a really great opportunity. Yeah, no, it's great. I'm based in Chicago. It's early morning. So yeah, excited.
Early morning in Chicago, and it looks like the sun might be shining.
Yeah, it's getting warmer these days. 60s around Fahrenheit. So yeah.
I think that's the spring well and truly coming. But
Yeah.
Anyway, Mushfiq, obviously today we've got you on and we're going to be talking about you regularly buy and sell digital assets or websites, if you like.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dig into all of that in just a moment. But before we do, give us a bit of an idea of your background. Like, how long have you been doing this stuff for? How did you learn? How the hell did you get, into doing this? Because some people come from an agency. Just curious to know your background there.
Yeah. So I don't come from I don't have a background in SEO. I'm an engineer by trade. I started in 2008, where I built up my own site for side income, and I used to start in Blogspot, building sites there, and then starting to get into WordPress. So I built my first site in 2008 and I sold it in 2010. I didn't even know websites could be sold back then. Escrow.com, these things were just coming up, and it was very Wild West back then. So I didn't actively look for a buyer. Somebody approached me and said, hey, we want your site. So I was in the VoIP niche, so VoIP, I was promoting Skype when they were very young. So that was my first exit. And since then, I've been doing, just flip. So I buy sites that are distressed. Distressed means either they're not earning as much as they should, or they have some issues with it, so I can get it at a much better deal. I implement my SEO, on page, off page, conversion rate optimization, and then I hold for sometimes 6 months, 12 months. So if that's a good asset, maybe a few years, and then I sell. So I've been doing that since 2008, about 175 website flips on the buy side, sell side, and also I broker some deals. And early on, I did a lot of smaller deals, 5K to 50K, 5K to 10K. Now I'm getting into bigger, where I maybe acquire for 30 to 50K and then sell for 300 to 500K, in that range. Yeah.
That is where we all want to to be operating. But so you mentioned there that you don't really come from an SEO background. So when it comes to obviously acquiring websites, are you doing the SEO, or do you just simply know what you need to buy from other vendors and stuff?
I guess what I'm saying, and when I learned SEO from the ground up, right? So I'm saying I don't come from like an agency or anything. I've just done it, DIY'd it myself. I don't manage other people's sites. So when I buy a site, yes, I do most of the work, at least strategizing. I know SEO, so I do it to a certain point, and then I hire what I call a website operator, essentially. If the asset is something I want to add to my portfolio for a long term, that's in the vertical that I want to kind of dominate, that's when I get the earnings up. Let's say I buy something, for example, I'll give a case study. I bought something last April in the outdoor niche. It was earning $300. I paid a 75x multiple, which in traditional industry, it's about 35 to 40x is the average right now. Why did I pay so much? Because I saw easy wins, right? I saw that I can just buy this, and 1 month later, 10x the growth, which I did. So 1 month later, I do everything in sprints. So I buy it, and then I spend 1 month of really optimizing it, getting the affiliate commissions up, getting ads in there, right? Whatever the easy wins are, and that jumped to 3K a month. Now it's at 8K a month, right? And I'm gonna hold it. So now I've hired, after 8 months of holding it, I've hired an operator that takes away 80% of the workload, which is boring, like formatting posts, uploading content, those kind of things. And I keep 20% to myself, which is strategizing. What's the new brand partnerships? How am I going to find new revenue streams? So those things I find fun. And then the 80% is like the day-to-day rigorous tasks that are boring, which I outsource to an operator.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. I'm in your boat. Outsource all of that garbage where you can. But obviously, having a look at your website, which if you guys want to check out, the website is called thewebsiteflip.com, where there's a bunch of case studies, guides, blueprints, and all of that kind of stuff on there. And obviously, you can subscribe to the email, which you're getting regular tips from Mushfiq and stuff like that. So you can check that out. But obviously, I've had a look over at Mushfiq, and obviously, you've got on here outdoor website, which you mentioned you bought at Flippa, your dating website, which you got from Flippa. I'm just going through the other apps. So is it always Flippa that you're looking at to buy websites first and foremost?
Yeah, Flippa has actually surprisingly been a good source for deal flow. I've been in Flippa since the early days, 2010-ish time. I'm also a super seller there and a recognized broker, so I've been with them for a long time. The thing with Flippa versus other brokers, Empire Flippers, Motion Invest, Investors Club, FE International, plenty of those, right? Is that when you buy from Flippa, since they're like the eBay of the internet for buying and selling sites, you get people who put sites up that are hobby bloggers, right? People who built the site from scratch, who really understand the topic, the content is top notch. And since Flippa is the first thing that comes up when people search, I want to sell my site, right? They post those websites for sale, right? And those are the ones I'm looking for. I don't want to buy made for sale sites, the sites that, maybe I would make, or, other people who are in this industry just build up to flip, because those don't have quality content. They come from non-experts. So I'm looking for those kind of sites that are built by hobby bloggers with expertise in the content, that maybe just know the content but don't know how to monetize, don't understand on-page tweaks, right? So Flippa has been a good source of that. Those are very rare. They come up once or twice a year, but I buy them very quickly, which I've done two of those in the past 2 years, which there's a case studies on the website Flip. So yeah, Flippa has been a good source. Brokers and whatnot, they're a hit and miss. The multiples are higher. I don't have the negotiating power. I'm competing with a lot of private equity firms that are trying to buy these sites now. So it's a lot more competition. There's pros and cons though.
It's interesting though that obviously you mentioned that the normal multiple for a website is 35 to 40 times the monthly revenue, and you paid 75 times for your projects. Now, how far would you have actually went with that? How do you calculate that up? And you mentioned that you've seen easy wins. Can you give us an idea of what those easy wins are? Why can you look at it, or how do you look at a website and go, I can 10 times this in a month?
Yeah. No, great question. So, that's first thing I do when I see a site. Is the niche good? Is the domain brandable? Those are easy, quick checks, right? And then I get Google Analytics access, and I'm looking at the top 10 pages that bring in traffic, right? Those are the easy win pages that you can, immediately get into, improve, and, earnings will increase. So I'm looking at commercial intent of those articles, what's missing. So easy ones are like, okay, if it's like a buying guide or something that's commercial, or do they have a comparison table? Do they have call to action buttons? Are the call to actions buttons distinct in color? If you have a site that's all white and the color buttons are white, that doesn't help, right? So kind of that's get the click-through rate up, right? Comparison tables, product boxes, call to action buttons, proper monetization. Amazon is not the best, right? If it's a niche like outdoor where there's plenty of affiliate programs, can I switch one out, right? Or can I do, what I do is I put Amazon and other affiliate programs side by side, and that actually generates more revenue. Are there display ads on the site? A lot of people don't add ads because they hate them. But look, I don't like ads because I have ad block, on but they make money, right? So that's an easy one. So those kind of things I'm looking at, and that's why I pay a higher multiple just to close the deal, because I can see those and I strategize. Okay, in 1 month I can 10x, 20x, 30x this site. And so I'm willing to pay that just to close the auction, because Flippa is an open auction, and auctions run up, and I'm willing to pay a high buy it now price today just to close the deal and not go into this 30-day auction period that's usually common.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And obviously it makes total sense in terms of what you're looking for as well. But I pulled up one of your case studies, and it's your dating website on the website flip.com. And obviously people listening are going to be like, whoa, this guy knows what he's doing now. Now, what people don't realize is you're not just buying a website and all of a sudden all this money pours in. You have costs, investments, and that's something you've documented on the website, cost by source. So the dating website, it dates it from November 2019 to November 2020. You've got your content, which is self-explanatory, hosting, self-explanatory. You bought a plugin, which is self-explanatory. But I just want to know what comes under the SEO that you've got there. Is that guest posts or something else? What is under the SEO there?
Yeah, good question. So when I buy sites, I'm looking for sites that already have quality backlinks. The dating site is a DR50, has links from Forbes, CNN, and it's already a very aged domain. So there's two boats. The case studies the websites that have good backlinks, I don't focus a lot on new backlinks on the early stages, right? Because they already have backlinks I cannot buy, right? And then there's other sites where they need more backlinks, and I do manual outreach, and I have my own VA that does the manual outreach. I don't use agencies or networks because I just don't like those links. So it's a slow process. I add maybe 3 to 5 links, and those are paying my VAs or myself if I have an hourly wage, essentially, and then I pay the publishers, the website owners, a fee for admin fee. So it all depends. Most of the time, these days though, I don't actively build links unless needed, because I start with a good foundation of a quality domain or a quality site with existing links.
On that, I know we're going to go slightly off topic here for a second. People do get started in the affiliate space, and they always ask the question: a good expired domain name or a good aged domain name from the likes of ODYS, wherever the thing is up there in the corner. What's your preference? Can you still get good traction out of an expired domain name? In my opinion, I don't believe you get the full power from it. I do believe it's reset, and you're not going to get all of the power that you're supposed to get, which is why I do prefer, trying to get a head start. If I'm just starting from scratch, I'd rather use an aged domain name. But I'm curious to know your input on that, from your own experience.
Yeah. So just by a case study, that dating site was an aged domain, not expired. And that was bought by the original owner, recreated, with the same topical relevancy and built up. So I'm a very strong proponent of using aged domains with existing backlinks, and Otis is, my go-to. So I love what they're doing. Yeah.
I know. I've had a few guys on who do what you do, and there was a chap who regularly buys aged domain names, and it's simply a content strategy. He doesn't build a single backlink at all. And it's, that flabbergasts me, because all the time when I'm buying and selling websites, I am paying for content and paying for links. Now, previously, I was, using expired domain names, or I was buying, 10 grand websites where the power just wasn't good enough. So I had nothing to leverage on. But obviously now I'm upping my game and going in at a higher end, with an aged domain name and stuff. But I'm curious to know. It's weird to hear you guys saying, we don't really go all out on backlinks, where I'm just buying a guest post under the sun, which is maybe not the best strategy. But going back to your case study, you've also got under your cost by source section, social media. So can you tell us what that cost exactly was?
Yeah, I have a dedicated person managing social media for my Facebook groups and Pinterest. So when I bought my outdoor site, it came with a Facebook page and group with about the page has 180,000 and followers, and the group has about 50,000. So he manages those, and then he's building up from scratch Pinterest. So those are the VA costs essentially.
And do you feel, I mean, I feel that it's really important to make sure that you do have a persona, you do have credibility and build authority and trust by having social media. Is that something you do for every single website?
Yes, more or less. Yes, after a certain point, right? If the asset already comes with social media, that's easy. If it doesn't, I build it from scratch. Or what I have done actually is a vertical play where I have actually outreached myself to Facebook group owners and said, "I'll buy your group," right? And I have bought two groups like that, and then now all of a sudden I give it to the VA, and now he's posting my articles to that group to drive more traffic. And I know I don't have like a scientific study that why does this help or not, but I have seen that content gets indexed quicker. I get immediate traffic and traction. I don't know. I mean, there is a correlation between that and search engine traffic, but I don't know if that's one to one. But it has helped me at least get traffic immediately and get backlinks immediately. So.
And just on the social media, in terms of, whether it be an affiliate marketing website or whatever, which
Yeah.
platforms do you think work best when you're trying to push that type of thing? Is it Pinterest? Because again, you mentioned Pinterest, and it's a platform that I've been quite ignorant to, if I'm being honest. I'm always like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, from an SEO point of view. So what's working well for you in that side?
Yeah, Pinterest used to be easier. My VA has been kind of telling me that Pinterest early this year, early last year, they changed their algorithm when, they used to send more traffic, and now they're kind of keeping traffic internally within their platform, just like Facebook has done over the last 5 years. So is it driving a ton of traffic now? No. Am I bullish on any specific platform? Not really. I would say I just do that as supplementary, and it's a very small cost. So I can't say one is better than the other. They're all kind of trying to keep traffic to themselves these days.
No, cool, fair enough. And obviously, I get your VA costs on your cost by source. That person has to be paid for their time, but you've also got this subscription fee. What is that?
That would be like the plugin subscriptions,
Right.
those kind of things. Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
fair enough. No, as I say, one thing I really like when I saw your website is the fact that you've done very similar to a guy I used to follow, Matthew Woodward. I love people who document the case study and just give you flat figures, which are great to have a look at. And I think for anyone listening, go and check out these case studies. It's laid out, it's gold, and I think you have to check this stuff out and sign up. I think there's not many people giving this stuff away, but out with your case studies. Obviously, your case studies are one thing, and clearly you've been very successful. From taking one of your projects from $896 up to $6,000 a month $6,000 a month, over an 8-month period, and that is amazing. But you talk about Amazon's not the best commission. Are you sometimes looking at these assets and saying, right, there's an Amazon affiliate website there that's selling sport equipment, for example. I could get that and I could really just treble the revenue by moving it away from Amazon. Is that something you look at, just changing the monetization model?
Yes, yeah, oh, for sure. That's what I'm doing. If I find a website, right, that's what I'm doing in the back of my head when I'm doing the due diligence. So due diligence is key when you're buying a site. That's very important. But due diligence has two factors in my book. One is the site healthy, right? That's the main due diligence. The revenues add up? Was the seller trustworthy? And then it's due diligence internally for me is what are the easy wins? What are the good, quick strategies? And obviously one is how do I diversify or simultaneously add different revenue streams to that site. So I have, share a sell, commission junction, impact radius, Avant link, all the, product-based affiliate networks I'm part of. I'm looking through there and finding those other complementary affiliate revenue streams and adding them on. Now what I do is, because I have an outdoor site, and that's a very good topic for having different other revenue streams, like because people who are in the outdoor vertical, or who customers essentially like to buy directly from the brands themselves. That's what I have seen, and I'm sure others have as well. And once you're in that niche, you kind of build direct relationships with brands. So now I have all these direct relationships. I have one-off commission structures that I've negotiated. So what I'm looking for now is other outdoor sites I can buy, because once I buy it, it's just plug and play to get that higher commission structure for me. So, what I recommend for people is find a niche, find one that you like and double down on it and build more assets horizontally across that niche, so that you can get access to these same revenue structures that you have put together.
And can I also ask, in terms of a lot of your websites, is it always the US audience you target, or do you have websites that are maybe targeting like European markets or whatever?
No, just US. Yeah.
US. Makes sense. It's a big ass place and a lot of money. But you mentioned one thing there, which was due diligence. Now, we are going to have people on here who are like, oh no, spending 10 grand on a website's a massive investment, which it is. We've all been there. And you're like, geez, that's a lot of money for me. Now, I do know that you can help people with consulting and stuff like that, but you also have another website called easywins.io, where people can check out what you have basically put down over your 175 websites, to be able to do it. So Easy Wins, you've got the sample of the Easy Wins to 10 times your growth, and all that kind of stuff. So what else is in there? People are going to be looking for a blueprint, or potentially even consultancy. Is that a service you offer where someone can say to you, Mushfiq, I've got 10 grand here, I've seen this outdoor website, man, can you come and check it and give me an opinion? Is that something you can offer people?
Yeah, so the website flip.com, it's a free resource in general. My goal is to, over this entire year, put enough guides on there where I don't need to sell my time to help people, right? So I've seen a gap in the market where there's plenty of people, plenty of brokers that sell sites, and then there's plenty of people that sell services, agencies and whatnot. And then in between there's a huge gap of where's the knowledge base for how to grow a site immediately after acquiring, or how to do due diligence, and that's what I'm trying to get filled for free, right? So I have a due diligence sniff test, what I call it. It's a 5-minute sniff test, essentially. When you see a site, quick due diligence, it's on my site, it's free, you can follow that framework. So, but let's say you buy a site, right, or you're looking at a site, and you want me to look over it, I offer essentially I would do a teardown of that site, look through it on a video, record it, and just go through the due diligence that I go through, and you can follow along and learn from that. My goal is to, teach people. At the same time, Easy Wins is for somebody who is going to buy a site or has a few sites in their portfolio, and they're trying to tweak out more revenue or more growth, right? And so there's about 120 strategies, and they're all organized based on what's the highest impact in terms of your revenue and traffic growth. And essentially they can just go through that checklist and apply those to their site, and they'll see the growth over time. Some are instantaneous and some can take a bit of time. So it's actually a product I built for myself, because when I'm going through due diligence of these, when I go through a site, I'm looking at this list and saying, okay, I can do this one, this one, this one, this one, and I can estimate that that's going to bring in additional $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month or something.
No, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. In fact, I'm actually just about to buy it myself. I just want to double check. Even for someone who I would consider like myself, who is experienced, I still want to make sure that I'm on top of my game and I'm not missing out anything. So I'm actually going to just buy that right now. So yeah, Do check that out, guys. But obviously, a question that everyone will want to know is, and you've mentioned it, how long do you hang on to a website? And you've mentioned there, you've got a website from hundreds of dollars to $6,000 in the space of 8 months. And I've spoken a lot about website flipping or at various different conferences and videos and stuff, and people say, Craig, why don't you just sit on the website? If you've got it to 6K a month, why the hell are you not sitting on it? So I want to know I know why I would sit on it. I want the money out quick so I can invest in something more. But I just want to know your take on that. When someone asks you that, what's your answer?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. Few answers, right? To be quick, one is I'm more of the mindset. I like the growth, the hockey stick growth, right? That's what excites me. So once I get that hockey stick growth and things start to stabilize, cash flow wise, I get bored. That's personally me. I like to grow things. So that's one reason I kind of sell it. Some people might say I'm stupid. Cash flow is king, right? But not for me. I like the growth stage. So that's one. Other is there's a life cycle in a website. Not that it's going to die, but let's say you have 500. Some of my sites have 600 articles, right? And you add those over time. There's a decay of content essentially over time, maybe 2-3 years. After that, you'll see if you don't touch your site, it's going to start decreasing because you have competition, other people writing more fresh content. So there is a time investment after a few years where you have to go back and update content, and that's a big undertaking when you have 500, 600 articles. And some sites I do that, when my team does that. Some sites I realize that I'm not interested in doing that. Maybe I don't like the niche very much. And I sell before that because a new owner is going to have that excitement to update all of that content and get it up to speed again. It's not that the site is bad. I don't sell sites that are bad. I don't do that, right? It's just that there's a huge time commitment. So, that's another one. Another is I don't like the niche. I've been maybe in a niche for a year or two. I just don't see that. I see myself growing in that niche, and that's another reason I sell.
Yeah, no, fair enough. There's always different people get different things. I also had Shona Newman, who I've just seen a testimonial from on your website. And Shona was talking about, it's harder to find a buyer for a website at a specific price range as well. So obviously when you're selling your websites for, I don't know, 300,000 or whatever, it's easier to get a buyer than a website that was going to be valued at 3 million. So
100%.
You're not going to get that pace of 175 sales if they're all $1 million websites, I would assume.
To add to that, I'm selling one that's right now looking for a buyer for 350K, right? And there's only so many. I have a lot of buyers in my list and my following that will buy any site under 50K, maybe up to 75K. But once you get to that 300K, you're getting into a different realm, right? Of multiple people, investors involved, legitimate institutionalized companies. So, as you said, Ashana is 100% right. There is a sweet spot. And I think that sweet spot is less than 100K. You can get a quick exit within, a few weeks. Anything more, it's going to take months.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Oh, sorry.
Obviously, selling a website for, say, 50 grand, can take a week or two to get done. But I was going to ask, what is the longest? So you flipped 175 websites.
Yeah.
What is the longest period of time it's went from you saying, right, are you interested in buying this to actually getting the money in your bank?
Yeah. Longest, I'll say 2 months has been the longest. So shortest, I just brokered a deal for 70K on Flippa, and it was a 7-day auction. So from start to 7 days, and we closed the deal as escrow in 5 days. So it's been a 15-day period to sell a 70K website on Flippa. So, it depends. It depends on the buyer and seller, but the max I've seen has been 2 months because one of the buyers' escrow payments was not being secure because they're from overseas. So it's not that the due diligence takes time. It's just the money transfer and all of that can take time.
And obviously, once you've inherited the website from Flippa, Where are you selling them? Are they being sold back on Flippa, or do you sell it in a different marketplace?
Yeah, no, great question. So I have an active following of buyers. So I have a multi-step process. First, I give access exclusively for sale to my newsletter subscribers, right? They get access. If they want to buy it, that's great. I save on the broker fees, right? And it's great. I can split the fees half and half with the buyer. That's the first. If I don't see interest there, I sometimes put it on Flippa, because one thing with Flippa, if you have a site that's less than, let's say, 100K, maybe sweet spot 50K on Flippa, you can put it on auction and it will drive up the price, just because of their algorithm. It'll drive it up. And I've sold sites at 50x multiple where the average is 30, 35, just because of the auction. And also I have a good following there. So it's in my best interest, if it's less than 50K, to put it on Flippa, get more interest generated. If it's more than that, 350K, I don't even put it on my newsletter because my buyer pool is not in that range. I do, I have a few select buyers that 5 to 10 that buy sites at that range, or I have to go to a brokerage like Empire Flippers or Investors Club to sell it.
Interesting. No, I was just curious to know it. And I'm going to ask a nosy question, and you don't have to answer this one. What's the highest website flip you've ever had, roughly? You don't have to give us exact figures, but what is the most you've sold a website for?
Yeah, good question. Last January, I sold one for 200K. And this one, if this closes, it'll be 350K, which hopefully by summer this year.
So just to clarify, this is all you do for business, buying and selling websites every day, no other work other than the odd bit of consultancy to help people. This is just your day-to-day job.
I have a day job that's separate to this. This is my side business.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was just a side business. I thought this was all you done all day, every day. It's a nice side business. That's even more interesting. But yeah, I think I've just basically signed up for your Easy Wins. It's on a nice platform with 121 easy wins that is on there on the database. So it does look very good, and I don't like spending money as a Scotsman, but I think already having that, I think there will be golden nuggets in there that I'm clearly not doing. And I think regardless of anyone getting into this kind of game, you have to be prepared to invest in yourself and invest in your website. I think for me, when a lot of people talk to me about affiliate marketing and buying websites for £10,000, they totally bypass that other investment. They try and scrimp and scrape on content and stuff like that. And the final thing I do want to talk about, obviously we've spoke that you don't do a huge amount of backlinks, but in terms of your content strategy, and again, we all know that you've got a powerful domain name. If you do the content strategy, that is, you're going to get a lot of quick, easy wins there. But people always say, how much content should I add? Is it 10 posts a month? Is it 100 posts a month? How aggressive are you with this?
Yeah, no. So example, for my outdoor site, after acquiring, I added 100 articles per month for 3 months. Now I'm adding 30 to 40 articles per month consistently. So I'm very aggressive. I mean, that's something I think people need to understand is if you're buying a site for 10K or 100K, content is kind of not in relation to the asset value, right? You need to add content. For example, I mean, I bought a big site, right? I increased the revenues, but the first few months, it takes time for the revenues to bump up when you buy a site. I'm putting 5K of my own money back into the site month over month. Now it's about 2K, right? And it's self-sustaining now, but initially it's not. So you have to really understand, that content is king. Adding more content and adding more backlinks. You can't skimp on that. You need quality content. I hire my own writers from Upwork. I don't use agencies because I like to quality control. I like to hire experts, and that's more expensive. So it's just part of the game.
And one final little thing on the content, you're saying 100 a month. What type of processes are they following? Is that just a throw 100 out there and see what sticks, or do you use the likes of Surfer, POP, and everything else to do the research to say, right, guys, I need 100 articles, and they need to be this volume, that volume, that volume. So how in depth is your SOP basically?
Yeah, it's not that in depth. So my process is, since the site is aged and its quality, what I do is do the high level keyword research and outlines, and I give that to the writers. My writers, the ones that I have for my sites, they're experts in their topics, so they actually don't like to follow outlines. Now this is strange, and this is what I do. I give them an article title. That's it nowadays, and I let them write. Do they understand the basic formatting? Headlines and all of that. I get the article and I post it. I post it and then I wait. Right, I wait a few months to get that ranking up. That's when I go back and optimize on page, and that's what my website operator does, the manager, essentially on page optimization. And Surfer is used, Market Muse, all these tools are used to get higher rankings. So it's a post-process thing, and of the 100 articles, only maybe 30 articles are bringing in significant traffic. The rest are not. So let's not waste time early on to optimize 100 articles when there's no guarantee they're going to all rank.
Yeah, so basically, that's a kind of spray and pray approach. So you throw 100 at it, 30 will probably do really well. You super optimize them. What happens with those 70 articles that are not performing well? Do you delete them? Do you merge them together? What happens?
Yeah, I do a content audit every quarter. And what I do there is, if it's a content piece that is relevant, it's adding to the silo, essentially it's adding to relevancy, I keep it. If it's something that's not bringing traffic and it doesn't bode well with the other topics, I delete it. I either 301 redirect it to another relevant article, or I completely deleted it and make it go to the 404 page.
Cool. No, just curious to know. I always go down. I'm a very similar approach. Spray and pray, see what sticks, and then throw some stuff in the bin. It's the only way that really can work for me, to be honest. I'm a gung-ho, aggressive guy. I just want to get shit done. So I like to. I don't like to pussyfoot around and mess around. So no, I like that approach. But sadly, we are getting out of time. But you've given us amazing insights as to quite a lot of what you do, buying and selling websites. But I just want to reiterate to people, if you want to learn a lot of this stuff and see the case studies and all that kind of stuff, the website flip.com is where you can see Mushfiq, giving all that information away. And you can also go to easywins.io if you want to get involved in the actual easy wins, so to speak. And as I say, I've literally signed up just now, and there's 121 there right now, well laid out on airtable.com. All professionally done, very well done. I've obviously not read them all, but by all accounts, speaking to you, Mushfiq, you clearly know what you're doing with this stuff, and you've done a grand job, especially in this side hustle. That is astounding. So, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and anyone should come out and check out the newsletter or the easywins.io. Both these links will be below the video when this goes live. But Mushfiq, it has been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully people can check out these websites. Do you do anything on YouTube, by the way? Do you?
No, I just like to write the newsletter. I'm just no YouTube, no podcast.
Fair enough. Each to their own. Well, make sure you get subscribed to that newsletter, guys, because
thank you.
We all need these golden nuggets, even me. So thank you very much, Mushfiq. It has been a pleasure.
Thanks. No, thank you so much, Greg. Thank you.